Alrighty, what's happening, everyone? Welcome on into the Check Your Brain podcast. It's Tony Mazur with you. Thank you for listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all the other podcatchers, as they call it. And thank you for watching on YouTube and Rumble and Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And if you want more from me, why would you? But if you do, just by any happenstance, want to go and check out more from me, go to Patreon at patreon.com/Tony Mazur, TonyMazur. You can subscribe for free, but I'm only going to give you one episode per week, which is the one you are listening to right now. The rest of it is between $3, $5, and $10. So yeah, just three tiers. It's not bad. It's the price of a cup of coffee with whipped cream and sprinkles, whatever you put on it. I don't drink coffee. I'm drinking energy drinks right now, and I'm going to need it to get through today's topic because once again, we are talking about Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So last week I had Courtney Allen on the show, and she's from I think she's from Mason, which is the Kings Island area, and she was really the only person on my timeline, at least on Facebook, that was talking about the big beatdown that occurred at Fourth and Elm in Cincinnati, right a couple hours after the music festival that was going on at Paycor Stadium, the home of the Cincinnati Bengals. And I was noticing videos pop up on social media, people showing what was going on. And then I started looking at different city leaders in Cincinnati because I'm only 3.5 hours up the road just outside of Cleveland. Like, what are people talking about? This is pretty bad. And instead, the mayor is like, oh, this is great. Here, I'm getting selfies with people. You had Dr. Amy Acton, the lab coat lady
Oh,
from 5 years ago, telling us we need to stay home because of the sniffles. That lady was like, "Oh, had a great time at this multicultural music festival, met so many great people, and let's make Ohio Democratic," and whatever she said. And I'm going, anything else of significance happen at this music festival, or at least after it? And it seemed like a couple of days for anybody to start addressing what went down, what we
yeah.
all saw all over social media. So, yes, it is another Cincinnati story. We are talking about this once again. However, since last week's podcast with Courtney, there has been a police chief blaming the victims, blaming everybody else around. You have city council members who are saying they begged for it. The beatdown was kind of justified in many ways. You have the mayor, you have KKK flyers, all this other stuff. We'll get to that here in the podcast, but I want to welcome in my guest this week. And he is somebody that I was introduced to just over the last week now of his tweets of being one of the only relatively prominent people in Cincinnati that is talking about this from a normal standpoint, not hiding behind it. He is somebody who cares a lot about his city. He hates what is happening to that great city, the Queen City, and that is my guest. It's Adam Koehler here on the podcast. Adam, welcome on in to the Check Your Brain podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, Tony. Yeah, it's a great city, and it's sad to see what's going on.
Give us a little bit about your history. That I read up on it a little bit, but for the listeners and the viewers out there, how did you get involved with this? How did people know who Adam Kohler was before, say a week or so ago?
Yeah, so I'm an entrepreneur. So I grew up in Price Hill, which is probably one of the three most dangerous neighborhoods in Cincinnati. Single mom, dad wasn't around, was too busy doing drugs and other things. And yeah, we grew up in a four people in a little one bedroom house or a little one bedroom apartment on the west side. And, there's a lot of gang drama that happens over there and a lot of things you could get into. I just kind of being sick of being poor, and I wanted to do something better with my life. I went to the School for the Creative and Performing Arts downtown for 8 years, which in the 80s and 90s, it was pretty much a war zone. And, it was a problem back then. But yeah, we did what we had to do. We stayed in school. We worked hard, went off to college in Pittsburgh, of all places. I had a big Bengals sticker on the back of my car. They didn't like that very much, but they don't like you guys even more.
Yeah,
And
well, just a little bit up the Ohio River. It's really the geography of that entire area is unbelievable. My wife's family's from Pittsburgh, so I'm there pretty frequently. And going down to Cincinnati has that it reminds me of it. It's not even just the geography, but the culture is what I've always enjoyed about going down to both Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. We
yeah, they're very
Cleveland kind
similar.
of Cleveland we tore down our culture in the 60s, and now we're I don't know, we have a bunch of Sheets and Get Go that have popped up, and that's basically what our culture is now.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, I didn't know what to do. when I was young, like a lot of the kids, right? Like a lot of the people that come out of the public school system, nobody really knows what they want to do here. And, I blame a lot of this on the schools, honestly. I blame it on the administrative class. It's about $16,000 a year per student that we pay in taxes. And we are not getting the results. I mean, about over a 40% truancy rate, chronic truancy rate. A lot of the kids can't read. They push them through even if they're not prepared. It's a huge problem, and they're not really teaching them anything that's important in life. It's just it's a daycare is what it is. It's a daycare, and a lot of the kids are just bad, right? And they got bad parenting, and it's a cycle. And a lot of the people that committed these heinous acts on Holly and the other participants, probably went through the public school system or dropped out at some point. And, they just keep pumping them out. So you have these problems like this, and nobody seems to want to talk about it because the Democratic Party is backed by the teachers union. It's one of the largest unions. 20,000 votes or something like that off rip just from, the teachers union and other unions. So as soon as, the polling numbers start coming in on election day, you see the results, right? And they got these people in their back pocket. And if you want to get elected in Cincinnati, you better run as a Democrat. And if you do have a primary, you better be the one who gets the teachers union endorsement. So they will never say anything bad about the performance of the schools because they're afraid to get shot down by the teachers union. They need it to get elected. And I've run in 2 races down here, and I'm just pretty much filling a slot on the slate for the Republicans.
You're like Cincinnati's Curtis Lewa at this point.
Yeah, I'm like Curtis Lewa. Nobody else is going to run, right? So you can't just have an empty slate for the Republicans. You need people that can afford not to win. Do you know what I mean? Like I've got other stuff going on in my life. We built a business back in 2008. We sold it to Zillow back in 2015. So I'm fine. I own a commercial building, rental property, all this other stuff. Got a couple other businesses going on. So, came from poverty and did something with myself. And I feel like I got a story to tell other kids like me in the Cincinnati area. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to run, because you just don't hear from Democrats. A lot of them really haven't accomplished much in their life outside of being in politics or working in the government. And, these kids want more for themselves. And, I feel like I'm a pretty good example of what you could do coming out of a very similar situation as a lot of these kids are in.
This is one of the misnomers that I see purposely being filtered in the mainstream media, is how a state like Ohio, which is getting redder by every election now, it's except for, I believe, Athens County, Hamilton County, Franklin County, Cuyahoga County, and Summit County. And maybe Lucas or Wood County, but for the most part, it is not just red, it's crimson in Ohio. So they will use that as, oh, here are the crime rates in this red state. But people also realize that if you go out to, I don't know, like Van Wert County, or you head over to Vinton County, for example, that's not far from Athens, that it's like 2 different states you're living in. And Cincinnati is just, I covered it last week, but I talked about I think there hasn't been a Republican mayor in 55 years.
That's right.
One of which, one of the Democrats included Jerry Springer, who we all know paid the hooker and the check.
Yeah. He represented the city well, didn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's a big problem, right? I mean, the fact that it's completely controlled by Democrats. And I always say, look, even if it was Republicans, as a Republican myself, I wouldn't want the city and the county controlled by a monopoly of Republicans either. But that's what we got with the Democrats. And the thing I always tell people too, like folks that think Republicans are these evil people that only care about, and this is what I heard growing up, right? Because I was a Democrat when we were young, because we were poor, right? Republicans are these evil, greedy people, right? And
the R stands for rich and rich and racist.
That's right, rich and racist, right? So I always say to them, what is our motivation to keep people poor? If we're so greedy and we want to keep our tax dollars, which is why they call us greedy, I don't want to have to pay for other people. Like if you're not successful and I've got to pay into the system to support you, I don't want to do that. Like our motivation is not for you to be poor. But the Democrats, on the other hand, have a ton of motivation to keep these people poor. Why? Because they run the entire system. They run the public education system. They run the all the nonprofits, right? So if all of a sudden there weren't any homeless people, what would happen to the homeless nonprofits?
Exactly.
Right? What would happen to somebody's $600,000 salary that runs one of these homeless nonprofits?
I
Right?
mean, we've seen it now
Jobs.
with all these NGOs when it comes to immigration on
Yeah.
the southern border, whether it's the Highest or Catholic Charities, and they're feeding them and clothing them and giving them cell phones and telling them where to go inside the country. Then, of course, as we saw the upending of USAID earlier this
Oh
year,
yes, which is
that
great.
Mike Benz has been great in talking about, that that's what's happening. And then the story that came out a couple of weeks ago, I know it doesn't have anything to do with Cincinnati, but as far as disasters go, the wildfires and Altadena and Paradise out in California. Then they did this massive 2-day concert with Red Hot Chili Peppers and Jelly Roll, and everybody's out there. And none of those people have gotten any of the money because
Nothing.
the NGOs, all these people, have taken it. They line their pockets first, and then they're like, "Well, we'll divvy it out. We'll put in a new bike rack or something here in this area." And these people are wondering,
Yeah.
where is our money going? Where's the money that was supposed to help these communities? And they're not looking for handouts. They're looking for help from, well, it
That's
was
right.
government malfeasance that was going on, why they didn't have water and everything. But you have a lot of these decimated communities. But like you said, in places like Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, with homeless encampments and tent cities and every overpass and underpass on 75 and 71 are just crowded. It's not just one person, it's an encampment. And if you try to get rid of that, if you try to do something,
Oh,
well,
they're
then now
freak
you're
out.
affecting a couple of other people's jobs. They have to ensure that those encampments are still there.
Oh, they've got an entire army that'll attack you about it. It's just unemployed behavior. Like I don't know where they find these people, but you're such a mean person, and they'll threaten you, and they'll oh, I should come to your house, this and that, right? I mean, the party of tolerance, right? The party of compassion and tolerance. These are the people that we're dealing with, right? It's be nice or I'll beat you up kind of thing, right? And it's wild to me. But it's just they've perfected the art of internet bullying somehow. And I'm pretty sure most of them are getting paid somehow for it. And I still
Yes.
haven't cracked the nut on the homelessness thing, but it's definitely got something to do with the nonprofit people and the folks that are making money off of all this stuff. And, they run all the nonprofits. I mean, let's be honest. And what happens is that money, the funding for the nonprofits, a lot of times it comes from, donors and things, but it comes from the government. So they donate money into the nonprofits. Then the nonprofits turn around and donate money back into their political campaigns. And it's a cycle, right? And, you've got this overproduction of elites, Peter Turchin calls it, an overproduction of elites. And it's coming out of the universities. Who runs the universities? Democrats, right? You
Yep.
got all these people going to school for, liberal arts degrees. Well, the private sector doesn't need all those people. Like, does P&G or Kroger or Cliffs, do any of those companies in Ohio need more social workers on their staff? No. So what do? They increase the size of government. So even here locally, one of the reasons the schools suck so bad is because they just keep creating new administrative positions for these people coming out of the schools, and it sucks the money out of the system. You only have so many dollars going into the school, right? So the kids, the money that actually goes to teach the kids, there's nothing left over for them. It's all going to this overproduction of elites. And the government just keeps creating these jobs. The colleges don't tell anybody, hey, we've got 10,000 people graduating for social work this year. Maybe you want to pick another major. Maybe become a plumber or an electrician or somebody that we actually need. No, 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 no. They're going to keep pumping these kids out of school. And the sad thing is, I heard a stat the other day, African-American women, college graduates, 65% of them work in the government. 65%. It's unbelievable. So when things like USAID get cut, when Trump comes in and starts cutting all these government jobs, that community is affected the most. And who's telling folks? I mean, these are a lot of times, these are first-time graduates. These are people that's like, their families are happy. They're graduating school. And here they are looking at government jobs and thinking that they're safe. And, they get cut. And who's Whose responsibility is it to tell folks, you know what? That's not the thing to go into. That's not where the future is, right? Go into this instead. But no, they just keep pumping these kids into these government positions, and now they're all losing their jobs. And it's sad to see, but I blame it on the system that they created.
They created a fake middle class. They're fake jobs, fake middle class, and then now a lot of them have gotten cut. It really hasn't affected the unemployment or the economy because they're government jobs. Whenever I heard about Joe Biden's administration, oh, we added such and such amount of jobs. Yeah, they were government jobs or part-time jobs or the
25%.
full-time private sector jobs. And they weren't there. And they fudged the numbers, of course. And we all just shrugged our shoulders and said, oh, well, we've moved on. We're talking about something else. It's just the corruption, the amount of corruption we're seeing from these politicians, and I see it up here in Cleveland. It's a joke. The Browns are moving to Brook Park, which is over by the airport. I mean, there's a lot of other factors, and the owner of the Browns is a scumbag. We all know it at this point. But Cleveland has never done anything to develop their waterfront. We have one of the 5 Great Lakes.
Which is crazy. Like every time I go up there and I'm like at the Great Lakes, I'm like, why is there not more stuff here?
Well, because where the airport is, it's all landfill, so they can't really build upon it. So they have a stadium that's used about, I think, 12 to 15 times a year. You have an outdoor stadium that they play 8 football games, 7 next year, and then they have maybe a college football game, a high school football game, and then they'll bring AC/DC or the Rolling Stones there. That's it. It sits empty right now as we record this.
Insane.
It is empty, and it will be empty for, I think, a couple more weeks until the first preseason game.
I mean, that's the Bengals Stadium's the same way, man. Yeah. We got fleeced on that deal, and honestly, that was Republicans that did that to us.
Well, yeah,
5 years ago, and you know they're redoing the deal now, but I mean it's not a great deal. You know, we're in, you know, small market cities, apparently. I mean, which is weird because, I mean, if you include Dayton, there's 3 million people in the Cincinnati metro, right? And at some point, those metros are going to merge. And it's crazy to me that we keep being called this small market town, and we keep getting bent over a barrel by the Bengals and by other groups. And they act like nobody wants to move here unless, and these are great cities, man. These are hardworking people. Companies should be proud to want to be in Ohio and be around folks that actually show up to work. I mean, one of the reasons there's not a lot of big companies in places like Miami and down south is because people skip work and go to the beach. You know, if it's a nice day, I mean, you got the beach right outside. Like it's not, you know, Lake Erie. It's nice.
And the thing about Cincinnati, I think, is interesting because when we go down there, we were at a wedding last year in Florence, and we stayed in Covington, and we hang out in, you know, yuppie, trendy areas and stuff like that. Over the Rhine, go to Rhine Guys, Mad Tree, some of the breweries. But I like going down there, and it dawned on me of where it's located. So it's on the Ohio River, as far south as you can basically get in Ohio, other than Portsmouth and Ironton. But you're right there as the gateway to the south, because Lexington's an hour away, Louisville's an hour away. You have Columbus is only an hour and a half north. And really, that's how a lot of people can get there. You have a layover and they're going to Nashville, going to other places in the South. It's pretty accessible on 75 as you head down there towards Atlanta and other places. It is really the gateway to the South that is really, I don't want to say an untapped gem, because like you said, you have Kroger, you have Procter and Gamble and stuff, but it should be operating as like this big high-tech East Coast city instead of this small-minded Midwestern wanting to be a rags to riches city. And it's a lot of the politicians, it seems like they want to keep that as its personality.
Yeah, they want it. Some people want Cincinnati to stay small for some reason, and it doesn't have to be, but you're 100% right. I mean, we're sitting here on the Mason-Dixon line, right? I mean, we're on the border of Kentucky, and there's different cultures. I mean, you cross that river. I mean, you've experienced it. It's a different culture over there, right? I mean, they don't even consider themselves part of Cincinnati, even though you could throw a rock across a river and hit Kentucky. But they they're all UK fans and Louisville
Yeah.
fans when you get over there, or Northern Kentucky fans. And it's like one problem in Cincinnati is we don't have a consensus on who to root for, right? Like I want everybody to root for the Bearcats, but you got Ohio State fans here. Like I said, you got Kentucky UK fans. You got
I mean, you have the what is it, the Crosstown Showdown, the St. X, and
the crosstown shootout with X and the Bearcats. I mean, you got so much good basketball and football around here. I mean, Indiana's not far. Dayton's not far. I mean, it's crazy here. You can't build a consensus. So Cincinnati doesn't necessarily consider itself part of Ohio, right? We're like our own little country down here. And, because we're on the border of 3 states. I mean, Indiana's, 30 minutes, not even, like 20 minutes probably, down 50. So, you got that. You've got Kentucky, you got Ohio. So it's like we're just Cincinnati, and that's how people feel down here. But right now, I'm feeling like we need to boycott. I mean, that's what I'm calling for, and you saw it on my Twitter. You got to do something. There's nothing you could do. I mean, it's a monopoly, man. Like, these people will not listen to us, and they don't care about that 30% of the conservatives here and what they think, right? You're going to have homeless tents when you got Democrats around here. You're going to have all the woke things that they promote, all the progressive policies, the defund the police, the bail reform. And what message does that send? And, I grew up in a bad neighborhood. I mean, I still live in a pretty bad neighborhood, right? I don't have to, but I've been there for 12 years. And, we got drug dealers out back on Vine Street. They've been hanging out there for decades. Like, I went to school in Over the Rhine for 8 years. And those people have been out there on Vine Street, some form, selling dope since I can remember, just open air drug market. Nothing happens. I'm like, how are we living in this state? How are there people with tents in the park? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why would any responsible leader in your city be okay with that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Well, and here's another thing that bothers me is you see this pop up every so often when you see violence that occurs in big cities, and it's more urban violence. We all know it. It's the biggest thing no one wants to talk about. And yet you have white people like suburbanites or those yuppies who live in a high rise in downtown are the ones who are going to say, "Oh, well," they post that meme of the Spirit Halloween costume, and it's conservative guy afraid of big cities.
Oh, they love that. Yeah.
It's like, well, come up with new material. I saw that, 5 years ago at this point. But the way they look at it is the modern liberal sees, and I use liberal, not progressive, not communist, whatever. It's a liberal. They look at it as, oh no, Cincinnati, it's great. See, we have the what's not the shuttle, but the light rail
Oh,
that
the
goes.
streetcar. Yeah,
The streetcar that goes
the
for
three and a
free
half
up
mile
and down.
streetcar, yeah.
We go to Findlay Market, and then we play cornhole on the rooftop at Rheingeist, and we go here, and we go to the banks, and we have a good time. We
Oh, they
drink, we go to a
gaslight
Reds
us.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like, yeah, those are nice perks of having a city. It's fun. I like the fact that they did develop that area. I don't know the cost
Oh,
of
it
it.
used
I'm
to be a
sure that
rat's
there's fun.
nest, man. I used to go to the club right there on Vine Street. There's a place called the Warehouse. It was $2 to get in. It was the only place they really had any like techno or house music.
Mm.
I was in high school, I believe, and they'd still let you in. But it was like the Kroger was right across the street, which you could buy drugs right in front of the Kroger if you wanted to. But yeah, 3CDC came in and did a lot of work, and a bunch of the corporations here got together and created an organization. They went into Over the Rhine and just essentially bought all the buildings there and rehabbed them all, and then brought in all the suburbanites who wanted to be edgy and live in the city. But man, I've been around this my whole life, man. It's not like, it's funny when these people, the ones that are telling you that you're scared of the city are the people who grew up in the burbs and the little gated communities and their cul-de-sacs or whatever. And then they're gaslighting me. I'm like, bro, I've been in Price Hill, Avondale, and Over the Rhine. That's where I went to school growing up. Those 3 places, which are 3 of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the city. And
yeah, they're all trust fund kids who
they're all trustafarians. Yep.
Yeah, they didn't
Yeah.
have to work for it. Mommy and daddy pay for their high rise downtown, and they're like, "Oh yeah, see, this isn't so bad." Well, of course it's not so bad in your little mindset. But when you see something like this, it's like, well, you know what? Violence happens. Hey, like when Seth Rogen said this about L.A., he's like, "Yeah, people's cars getting broke into," and he said, "Dude, well, maybe not leave your stuff in your car.
Yeah.
Like, don't leave."
There's always an
valuables in it."
excuse. It's crazy, man. It's like, and they want it though. Like they think that makes them cool. Like they think, oh, look at me in an edgy neighborhood, you know, because you grew up in the most boring place on earth, and you couldn't wait until you got old enough to get out of mommy and daddy's house, and now they're paying for your rent, and you want them to keep paying for your rent, right? So of course there's the crime is not a problem, right? Oh, don't tell people the crime is a problem in Cincinnati. Mommy and daddy might see it, and they might cancel my rent and make me move back to the burbs. Like that's the attitude, man. And it's just like these people. Do you not realize that you are actually hurting people? And the fact that we hide the crime that happens in a lot of these neighborhoods, they don't care about these people's lives. They don't care. I've lived in black communities practically my entire life. The people that I have as neighbors, they do not want this. And before that in Price Hill, I lived around a bunch of like Appalachian people. Like I'm Appalachian, right? We have a history of poverty. Nobody wanted to live around crime. Nobody wanted this stuff. Nobody wanted people fighting drunk out in front of their houses, pulling their cars up drunk into the grass, dumb stuff, man. Just breaking into cars, stealing radios back in the day, windows getting busted out, like you said. It's just, and I don't know who these people are. Like the only thing I can think of is they're just like these little Trustafarians that come in from the burbs, and they work in, you know what they do? They work in the government. They work for local media stations. Almost everybody in the media, all the journalists are woke.
Oh, we'll get to that here in a second
Yeah.
with the NPR guy.
Oh my God, the NPR dude. Oh,
So, but I've noticed, because we see this in Cleveland, where it's one thing if you're in LA, you're in Chicago, you're in New York, that you got to work downtown sometimes. We're not in the biggest of cities in the world, but it's a large enough city.
Yeah.
Who lives downtown for the most part? It's not the middle class. It's the upper class or the lower class. The middle class for decades has been essentially ethnically cleansed from these cities, and now thus created the suburban.
Right.
I'm out here where I'm kind of near downtown, but I have space in my backyard. And that's what ended up happening. And it's like, what's going on? And yet those same people, because the middle class got sent to the suburbs, they got sent across the river or up to Blue Ash or Sharonville or some of these other areas.
Kentucky. Yeah. My buddy Manuel just bought a place in Kentucky, $150 a square foot.
Yeah.
You can't find that downtown. I mean, it's $250, $350 a square foot downtown.
Yeah, and then you got to take your dog to take a dump outside, and you got to go down 11 floors, and it's not a place to raise your family. It's just not.
Yeah, if you want to go to the bars and you want to club, like downtown Cincinnati's cool. Like I grew up going to all the clubs on Vine Street and Main Street and everything else. Well, not Vine Street, but Main Street. And
how's Ludlow Garage?
Oh man, that's been around forever.
I've always wanted to go there.
My dad used to sell drugs there. Jim Tarbell, yeah. Jim Tarbell used to run it, and Jim's a good guy, man. He's a charterite, which is kind of like a third party here in Cincinnati. Really good guy. Loves Cincinnati. Loves Cincinnati. Used to work for his brother. Actually helped him on his campaign a few times with graphic design stuff when I was working for his brother. But yeah, he started Ludlow Garage, man. He's a cool dude, and it's just a place for people to party back in the day. And it's not like so what cool. It was. Yeah, but it's a different place now.
And they've got, like, I went to the Sign Museum a couple of years ago, which is fun.
Awesome.
There's so many cool things, and it's just, that's why it's so depressing of what we're talking about, because even Cleveland, I trash Cleveland a lot because I think it's like when they say recency bias, I think it's like a nearby bias, I guess. I'm too close to it to see what's going on, that when an outsider comes in and say, actually, this is a pretty cool place, I like that area, I go, okay, maybe I'm just being too harsh on my own city. But a lot of this stuff has to change in politics, and I don't know what it's going to take. So I wanted to share this couple of things I was thinking that I wanted to hear you comment on. So since I recorded last week, we had this woman named Victoria Parks. Now, who is Victoria Parks?
So she is a city council member, but she is retiring after her term this year. So she's not even going to be there anymore, which is probably why she's standing by her comment. And I'll be honest with you, man, we got a lot of racism here. We got problems, and it's being excused. So if you are of one persuasion, you can be as racist as you want. I mean, it's because we're in a progressive city, right? But racism should not be excused by anybody, right? And everybody can be racist. It's go look in the Webster's dictionary, the definition of racism, right? It's not like one group of people, because of some historical situation, should be excused from being racist. And on top of that, you are a city council person. You represent all of Cincinnati. You represent that 30% of conservatives also. And you pretty much told them you hate them.
Yeah.
That is not proper representation.
And it should, and again, should be noted that this woman is a person of color, shall we say? And what I'm sharing for people only listening to the audio right now, she put on a Facebook as a comment, and she really didn't back down from it. She's like, "Yeah, whatever. What are you going to do to me?" She's Victoria Parks says they talking about the beatdown that happened last weekend or the previous weekend. They begged for that beatdown. I am grateful for the whole story. And that is someone who is unrepentant, who is clearly a blood and soil nationalist for her own people. And we can do the boomer thing of like, whoa, what would happen if you reverse the races here? We all know that. We all know what would go on. It would be a story that wouldn't leave the news for 5 years. And this lady, it's like, yeah, and she basically was like, what are you going to do about it? Like, I'm retiring. I don't
Well,
like you
they've
people.
empowered her to be like this, right? They've empowered her to be like this. She can do no wrong, right? She's high up on the victimhood pyramid, right? The higher up you are on the victimhood pyramid, the less accountable you have to be for anything that you do or say. And it's really, really sad. And, to me, racism and all this other nonsense in your own community, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, we've all got to live together. And what's your goal with that? Like, what's your goal with being tribal? Like, what are you going to get out of that? The only thing that happens is more people hate you.
Yeah.
You're not going to win friends and influence people, right? You're only going to make more people angry at you. And for what? You're resentful. Like, you come off as resentful. You want revenge on people for something that they never did. And it just festers, right? And honestly, what it comes from is the fact that we live in a pretty segregated city. I mean, this not too long ago, I remember a stat. Cincinnati was the 7th most segregated city in the country. And, my neighborhood was just a bunch of hillbilly white people beating up each other all the time. And I'm sure she grew up in a segregated black community, right? And what happens in those places when you don't have exposure to other people, that racism, that resentment, that hateful attitude, it just festers, right? It just festers. And the problem I have now is it's the Democrats. It's the Democrats that have redlined. They're the ones that keep people in these neighborhoods. The west end of downtown Cincinnati, 97% of the people there rent. 3% own, but they have certain kinds of permits on the property where they can only be rented low income. So you're being stuck in a community with a bunch of other poor people, right? Because of voting. They want to control that vote. If you're poor and you're desperate, the Democrat Party loves that.
The handouts.
For the handouts, right? They give you things. They take the little the bus down there. They give you scraps off of their table. And the people running these organizations, they're making great money, right? They hate me, right? They loved me when I was poor, right? And they could help me. But as soon as I became self-sufficient and I sold a company and I did something for myself, now they don't like me. Why? Because I can show other people how to do that. It's not impossible. You live in the United States of America. But Democrats constantly want to tell you it's impossible to come up. It's impossible to move up social classes unless you have their help, right? But
Yeah.
it's
the victim. It's fomenting victimhood, and
they love victimhood.
It's the continued creation of that, where, like, my belief, because I grew up in one of those areas where it was one of those, the neighborhood's changing. It's not like it was in the 70s, so it was a little bit more multicultural, and the housing value went down. There's a lot of blockbusting going on, and I just remember as a kid, just growing up I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, that you were just seeing every year the property value would continue lowering and lowering. And and then I'm finding out from some of my friends who were black that we're all hanging out and having a good time, but then they would confide in me. They're like, my parents are telling me, giving me this talk. And I said, what talk? What were you talking about? And they said, it's what is known colloquially and collectively as the talk, meaning, the cops are trying to pick you off for sport, that white people are the oppressors, they're the colonizers, they're this and that. And what does that do to the psyche of say, an 8-year-old kid of
Yep.
black persuasion, or I mean, black skin colors, that they're going to start growing up and start looking and going, maybe this person is a colonizer. Maybe I have not achieved where I wanted to go, not because I'm not intelligent enough, not talented enough, not whatever. It's because I'm black and whitey's holding me down. And it continues going on. And these, again, like you said, these are the people who've been crying about racism for all these years, yet it seems that they want to keep things into a nice segregated box for
Well, they
everybody.
100% do. Yeah, of course they do. I mean, I just had this conversation with Linda Matthews. She's running for city council. She's a black woman. She gets it, right? She sees all this stuff. She sees these pastors just pimping people and getting paid by the government to essentially send voters to the voting booth for Democrats. I mean, she gets it 100%. And I sit on the Ohio chapter of the Frederick Douglass Foundation with her, and the whole goal of the Frederick Douglass Foundation is to help African Americans understand how economics works. Right? I didn't know when I was a kid. I went to public schools. They didn't teach us a whole lot about economics. I had like maybe a class where somebody came in and talked about the stock market one time, but I didn't think I'd have money to invest in the stock market. I mean, when we sold our company, I had no idea what to do with that money. Like, I was like, this is crazy. Like, what? I was scared. I was actually scared that something would happen to it. Somebody would take it. Somehow it would lose, in the bank transfer. Something weird would go on. Because, I mean, it was a significant amount of money. And I'm like freaking out about it because I'd never seen that much money in my life. And I didn't know what to do with it. I called a buddy of mine. He worked at Fidelity. He went to good schools. He went to Covington Catholic. And I'm like, dude, what do I do?
I've heard of that school.
Yeah. Well, you know how that whole situation went down too. Why is it always Cincinnati? Dude, it's always this area that stuff happens. I don't get it.
I had Steve Oldfield on. He did the documentary on Covington Catholic, and he knows the Sandman family, and he's like, I cannot tell you privately or publicly how much they made from that, from CNN and what I think it was the Washington Post for defamation. But
You should just keep that quiet because all the cousins and everybody else is going to show up once they find out. But but yeah, I mean, Linda, she gets it, man. She's running for city council. So if anybody's listening to this, you live in the Cincinnati area and you could vote for city council members, Linda Matthews is definitely the one to vote for. If she would have been on city council and that post would have came out from Victoria, she would have ripped her publicly in the meeting. I mean, there would have been no way. Like, Linda does not play around. And I love her. She's a great person. She only wants what's best for the whole community, right? Not just a piece of the community. And we should all want that. I mean, if you look at the statistics, the amount of kids that drop out of school here, a lot of African Americans, if we could get that community to function properly, and this all starts in the schools, our economy would go crazy.
it also starts at home too, because when
it definitely does.
You could do as much as you can in school, and we've heard these teachers unions and some of the teachers slipping on the Zoom calls, going like, "Oh, actually, we own your kids. The parents are just landlords."
I don't even think that's a slip, man. I think they think that they actually do.
Mhm.
And there's a lot that the schools could do. I mean, I went to a performing arts school. All the kids at that school had a dream, man. They all wanted to do something big. They wanted to be in the ballet. They wanted to, be on Broadway doing something. I wanted to be in art. I mean, I took drama classes for 6 years, but I was in art classes for 8 years the whole time I was there. And now I own a design agency, right? Like, and that led me into starting our company because the founder needed a designer. So, one thing leads to the other. You just got to put yourself in the right place. And I think the worst part about being poor is you don't have a network. You don't have a network. You don't have any way to you don't know anybody that's successful. I mean, the teachers, they're teachers, right? I mean, they probably haven't done a whole lot in the private sector. You don't know what's out there. Like, you don't know what careers are out there. Like, you're like, oh, I want to be a rapper, a football player, a basketball player, or a singer or something like that. Like, that's the only thing a lot of people know because that's what they see, okay? Their dad's not a lawyer. Their mom's not a doctor. A lot of times the kids that grow up to be doctors and lawyers, their parents are doctors and lawyers, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's funny, they keep telling me, where's all the communism? Because I always call them commies because they're a bunch of commies down here. Everybody that leads the government, it's just a giant Marxist organization down here. So it's funny, in the Communist Manifesto, this is the quote from the Communist Manifesto: "The education of all children, from the moment they can get along without a mother's care, shall be in state institutions."
Wow. That's
There's your
pretty
communism
explicit.
right there. Right? I mean, what do they push for? Do they push for vouchers so that some of these kids in these neighborhoods can go to a better school? No, they don't want that. They want you to be in their little state institution, right? So they can groom you, and then you go off to college and they continue to groom you, right? It's all for political power.
Mhm.
But they're losing that political power with USAID being shut down for the most part. PBS being shut down. The guy that found that racist flyer, he works for WVXU here, which is the local like PBS or NPR affiliate here in town. So they lost their funding. Of course, he's not happy about it, right?
Well, wait a second. I thought PBS and NPR were funded by viewers like you.
Viewers like you,
And then it turns out, maybe not so much.
they're shutting down.
Maybe that $5,000 donation for the tote bag was that coffee mug.
No, we support the Democrat Party with our taxes through organizations like that because they spread propaganda. And then, you had Planned Parenthood up there in Cleveland shut down, right?
Yep.
And what do? They turn around and donate money to candidates, right? Through PACs and things like that. So, it's our money that funds Marxism, essentially, through all these nonprofits, these NGOs, the abortion clinics, all those things, man. And they're losing that money. This is the greatest time to be a Republican. I don't remember ever a time where we've controlled these three branches of government. And in the state of Ohio, what is it, 9-1 in the state Supreme Court?
I think so, yeah.
And we got a majority in the federal Supreme Court. This is the best time. And you know what? This whole situation with this Holly getting beat up and these guys getting beat up downtown. Now you got Bernie Moreno, guy from Cleveland, right? He's saying we need the DOJ to go down and investigate what's happening in Cincinnati. This is an opportunity, Tony. This is a huge opportunity because the rot is stinking just as much here as it is in every blue city around the country.
It's the biggest white pill I've seen in a long time because when somebody posted it the other day on Twitter of people for Zoomers probably don't remember the days of how blackpilling it was to be somebody who was on the, let's just say, non-left, libertarian, centrist, Republican, conservative, whatever you want to call it, that it was so blackpilling that we're looking to people like Scott Walker and Bobby Jindal and Paul Ryan as the new saviors of the right. And you're going, what?
You remember those?
And it took someone like Trump, a guy who was a former Democrat, is essentially a 90s Democrat in many ways, a guy who's he's a little boorish with his behavior. He's been divorced and all these other things going on. And it took that to just say, hey, guys, it doesn't need to be like this anymore. And it finally emboldened a lot of people who are going, yeah, maybe it doesn't need to be like this, and we can finally speak up. So it's a real great time to capitalize and finally do something about this, because otherwise we're going to have continued situations like what's going on in Cincinnati with politicians. And it's not even just the politicians, because I want to show this clip here of the police chief. So the police chief, who seems like she was also a DEI hire, even though she's a white lady.
She's 100% DEI hire.
This Muppet woman, she looked a couple of days ago. She has now essentially blamed everybody else but the attackers in this situation. She's blamed bars for over-serving. She's blamed the victims for using racial slurs, possibly, who knows. She's blamed social media, and she's blamed Republican politicians like Vivek and Bernie Moreno for politicizing this matter. Here she is saying that we have additional footage that's going to tell more of the story.
Early next week, probably early next week, I will be releasing additional footage, including body-worn camera. That tells a little bit more of the story, but right now I need to let the investigators continue to do their job. If I release too much, too soon, even though there's a very strong appetite for it, I jeopardize the integrity of the investigation, and that would not be good for anybody involved.
And this is like a Benetton ad in many ways, because this is behind her is the mayor named Aftab, I believe.
Aftab Puraval. Yeah, we call him asphalt pothole around here because yeah, he can't seem to fix the potholes either.
Yeah, they somebody I sent it to you, but I'm like I didn't make it up. It's a Star Wars name. Then you had that pastor the other day who was blaming the victims because they were white and saying, "Oh, you're making a racial thing out of it." I don't know. It seems like when a dozen black people attack a white person, no matter if the white person started it or if a word was used, does that justify it? And it seemed like, yeah, it kind of does justify it, because it would make my people look bad, which is what that Victoria Parks was also doing. And then the mayor who came out with that whole thing, where like, I'm condemning this, and I'll show this. Here's the next clip I have. This is the NPR guy. So the NPR guy from the affiliate, which his name is Nick
Swartzel. Yeah.
So here he is. He found a pamphlet. It says, "Just out and about on this beautiful Sunday disposing of garbage. If you're out there, if you're out and about on this beautiful Sunday, you should dispose some garbage too. Remember, only losers litter." So
it's in perfect condition, isn't it? Like, isn't that weird?
So for folks only listening to the audio, with this being a podcast, it says, "Arm yourselves, white citizens of Cincinnati. The Cincinnati police chief, Cincinnati mayor, Cincinnati city manager, and all the nine Cincinnati city council members will not help you against vicious attacks from those of color."
Those of color. Wow. That's something I often hear from Klans people. You know, that the term "those of color." Huh.
They're being very
I didn't know they
correct.
went woke. Did they go woke recently?
Yeah, I think I can't read it, but I think they have their pronouns on here, and talking about.
I wouldn't doubt it. They always
personal
tell on
privilege.
themselves, man. The Democrats always tell on themselves, and this is straight out of the playbook of the Rules for Radicals. It's
Saul
exactly
Alinsky.
what this is. Saul Alinsky. That's all this is. And they needed to do something to deflect, but it's not going to help them because people know exactly what's going on. They've seen this play out, and I've actually got a post getting ready to send out here soon of all of the fake racial claims that have happened over the past several years. You know, with Bubba Wallace, you remember that with the news thing? It just ended up being a garage door.
It was a pull down
pulley for the garage door. Yeah, it's just anything, man, to just keep racism alive. It's insane, man. The Democrats,
we're addicted.
They will not
to
let
it
it die.
Country. We're addicted because with that NPR guy. So again, for the audio only people, that is a pristine flyer. Now, wouldn't you think if there's garbage flying around that, I don't know, may have gotten a little dirty, a little frayed at the edges, a little dog-eared? No, it's a pristine flyer, meaning I'm not accusing him of him perpetrating this, but it seemed like it was freshly made, dropped on the ground, and a quick video was taken of him discarding this flyer. Again, I'm not accusing him of it, but you know, Jussie Smollett is still considering himself to be an upstanding citizen who was attacked in MAGA country at 2:00 in the morning in Chicago in January 2019. But again, I want to bring it back to Cincinnati, because across the river at Covington Catholic with Nicholas Sandmann, that whole thing was the same kind of situation of everybody jumping to the conclusion without knowing what else happened.
Well,
and
they were attacking a 15-year-old kid.
People that I knew and respected, or at least I respected at the time, were the ones who were going, well, this is just racist. This kid with this red hat, he needs to get, was it Reza Aslan, I think it said, that have you ever seen a more punchable face? And it turned out, oh no, it was the Black Hebrew Israelites who were starting the problems. And you had this fake Vietnam Indian guy who worked on refrigerators banging a drum in his face.
This kid's face.
And all you see is this smirking white kid, because he's from privilege and went to a Catholic school, he's smirking at an Indian, and it conjures up that image of another fake Indian from the commercials in the early 70s of him crying while he's picking up all the litter in the area, which they found
Oh,
out
I
the guy
remember
is
that
actually
commercial.
Italian, but and he was an actor. But that's what they did, is you saw the people, the worst people imaginable, fall for this stuff immediately. Same with Jussie Smollett, same with Bubba Wallace, same with like Mattress Girl and the Oberlin College hoax, where they said they found Klan hoods around the campus, and it turned out it was a girl who had a hookup with a guy that she was embarrassed by, so she put a sheet over her head, and they said, "Oh, hey, there's a Klansman walking around the college of Oberlin College."
Uh,
Okay, that makes no sense. But if you have a brain, you know this doesn't make sense. You know that what I saw with my eyes on it's now 2 weekends ago in Cincinnati at Fourth and Elm. I'm going, yeah, that looks really bad. Well, do you know what led up to it? I'm at the point where I don't care because I've seen this pattern play out a lot. Well, he may have used the N word. Okay, let's say if he did drop an N bomb, whether it was before or during this going, that's a word. This is a brutal beatdown of.
well, they were having a great time doing it too.
Yeah,
I mean,
laughing,
they're filming it,
dancing.
laughing. Some woman comes in, gets her wig taken, which I wonder what happens to that wig. That's a collector's item at this point. Like, what happened to that wig? Where'd it go? But I mean, these people are enjoying it. People that didn't have anything to do with it were just coming out of the club, just joining in the beatdown. Like, who are these people? Like, what kind of mindset do you have to have? And I get it. People get drunk. Man, I've been to the club so many times. I mean, we probably went 4 days a week for a decade. And, I see people get beat up all the time. But there's a point where you stop, right? Kicking people in the head is crazy. Like, that's crazy work. That's a felony. I mean, looks like attempted murder to me. I mean, that's not what they're going to charge him with because, we're in, the prosecutor's woke here too. And, the whole entire judicial system here is pretty much woke. And, if something happens, I wouldn't doubt if there's an uprising, I wouldn't doubt it.
And like you said, it's sad to say that, but the uprising may not be violent. What it does is it's going to be economic. It's going to be another white flight. It's what happened in the 50s
Yeah.
and 60s of moving out of.
Well,
the
I'm thinking if they
city.
get convicted, there's going to be violence. Like if they're, they said the N word, we should have been able to kick him in his head. Like there's an unspoken rule. Like you don't say it. Like if you're a white dude and you're like, oh, N word, right? You're going to get punched in the face. I mean, it is what it is. You already know that. And that's kind of like the way they've taught each other to respond to that word. But the crazy thing is bro, you were on camera.
Yeah.
Like it's still like people expect it, but it's still illegal. Like,
Wasn't the one guy who was doing a lot of the kicking that his mom came out said
bro,
that
that
they
was
wanted to
wild.
start stuff with these Russians.
Yeah.
And my kid is good. He's a good boy.
To be on a roll.
He's on the honor roll and he's a father of 5. I'm like, wait, how old is it? How old is he? Father of 5? And you're on the
Crazy.
honor roll? Like, what is
Crazy
going
work.
on here? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of this misinformation, all that kind of stuff. It's purposely put out there. I want to play the last clip I have is Holly. This is the update that happened over the week. This is the woman who it was just shocking to see her lying motionless in the street. We didn't know what was happening to her. Seemed like she had brain damage. That's what it seems like, according to her message. This is her first message that she's had on camera because she has been in hiding. This is how sad it is that they're going to if they find out who this woman is, they're going to continue attacking her because how dare she show her face again?
I just want to say thank you so much to everyone for all of the love and support. It is very humbling that you have sent your prayers, your blessings. It's definitely what's keeping me going. And you have just brought back faith in humanity. So God bless you all. And thank you. I appreciate everything that you're doing for me and my family. It's been very, very hard. And I'm still recovering. I still have a very bad brain trauma. And it's thank you, everyone.
It's just looking at her, that it's stunning to me. And yet we live in an age with Reddit and with other areas of doxing that people are brazenly saying that she deserved it, that the fact that she's talking means we didn't do what we accomplished, we wanted to accomplish, and threatening her that she's going to have to move, whatever the case is. And what, like, honestly, that kind of racial resentment is that we've especially seen the last couple of years since George Floyd and all the other riots in the streets, that it will cause more people, especially white people, to self-segregate. And not just white people, it's going to be black people who are having what's now, they keep calling it black fatigue, or other people use other words, but they're saying that. And you're even seeing black people going, I can't, like, why are we putting up with this type of behavior?
Well, that's the big part too. I mean, you're right. I mean, I give props to all the people in the black community that came out and, said, this isn't right. I mean, there's a lot of them, the majority, I would say, but you got the element, man. You've always had the element here. And there's white people that are like that too. I mean, I grew up with them, bunch of knuckleheads, right? And no matter what happens, they're going to make excuse for their little criminal friends just because. Like they don't want them to go to jail. There's people, honestly, that want Cincinnati to be ghetto. Like they do. I mean, when I was growing up, people would check the murder rates and stuff and be like, oh, look how hard Cincinnati is. We're 9th on the list of most murders per capita. Like they want Cincinnati to have a reputation. Like it's crazy. Like it's crazy to think that now. Like when I was a kid, I'm just like, oh yeah, we're gangsters, but we're gangsters. We live in this, I live in Price Hill, and it's, it made me tougher, right? And you just got that mindset that that's your identity, right? Your identity is to be a thug, and your identity is to live in a hard neighborhood, and that's all you got, man. But there's so much more to life, right? There's so much more opportunities. Like I travel all over the place, man. I go to other cities; they don't have the same problems we got in Cincinnati and Cleveland, right? Or Memphis. I mean, that's a mess down there. Baltimore is a mess. I mean, you go to other places, man, there's some nice, dude, Cincinnati has 4 times the homicide rate that Miami has.
It's insane.
Miami, like Vice City, 4 times the homicide rate, man. And it's wild to me, but people don't think about it, but there's a lot of underinvestment, man. There's a lot of stuff that a lot of people, man, they're just not made for college, and there's no jobs, and these kids don't have anything to do after school. And in the summer, they're just out on the streets, acting up, breaking into cars, trying to make money. I mean, I get on the streetcar, kids are in there all the time trying to get you to donate to their little basketball thing. I don't even know if that's a real fundraiser. I just think they got something laminated and went out and started, trying to get money from people.
Yeah.
But it's like there has to be more programs for the kids. There has to be better education. We have to be able to point people in the right direction, because, man, if we don't, we're just going to keep having these same problems over and over and over again. And a lot of people, in bad neighborhoods and poor communities, my people, the African-American community, like, we're sick of it, man. We're just sick of it. We're sick of the knuckleheads. We're sick of the nonsense. And then we're sick of these lily white people coming down from the burbs, living in the city, trying to be all edgy and gaslighting us about the crime. It's like, bro, I've been here my whole life. Like, it's the crime for a minute.
I'm tired of the excuse making for bad behavior. And like I said, that it took your mayor within seconds to condemn the KKK flyers.
Oh, couldn't wait. His fake KKK flyer. He's just out here in
which they do all the time. This always happens. It's like, oh, well, when there's this racial resentment that goes on, whether a lot of times it's played up in ways, because like, people aren't happy about this, but it's more so you're not the people who are frustrated. It's not so much that it's a racial thing. It's the people of Cincinnati who are upset with what's going on. It's an inaction thing. It's a political thing. And that's what bothers people so much, that you're looking the Aftab, the mayor, who apparently, was he half Punjabi, half like Tibetan or something, and And here he is within seconds condemning a possibly fake KKK flyer, yet took him several days to condemn the beatdown that everybody saw on TikTok millions of times over. It's this is just poor leadership. And it has to get to a point where you got to hold them accountable. And unfortunately, because you've gotten sensible people to say, I'm not going anywhere near a downtown. Like during COVID, for example, I went from the end of February 2020. I did not go to downtown Cleveland, and I lived down the street from it. I didn't go downtown until the NFL draft occurred, which was about 15 months after my last visit to go into Cleveland, because I had no reason for it. There's no,
Yeah.
you got to give me a reason. You can't just say, well, you like sports, right? You can come see a team and the Indians play. Oh, but they're not the Indians anymore. We had to change it because racism. You want to come into downtown? No, I can have my own things. Well, you're not going to get the culture in the suburbs. At this point, I and a lot of other people are leaning towards safety, security, and convenience as opposed to well, you should try this IPA. This is really good. This says double IPA with grapefruit and
That's a
extra
reason
hops.
for not. I love going downtown. Yeah, I love living downtown because I get my micro brews. It's like great, bro. Like I don't even drink, so it doesn't bother me. You know,
There's more to a downtown, and there's more to culture than wearing flannel and going axe throwing.
yeah. But liberals do make great coffee. Like we have some
Oh,
great coffee shops down here. Coffee Emporium is great, full of liberals, but great coffee.
yeah, except millennials stop going to chain restaurants, and as you can tell, I'm a big fan of Big Boy.
I was there yesterday. I got some cheese sticks. Yeah.
By the way, what's a good underrated? Because I love Cincinnati chili, and yes, we do. I did do the Skyline versus Gold Star challenge when I was
yeah.
down there last. But what's your favorite of the chains, and what's your favorite that's not a chain?
I mean, I grew up in Price Hill, so I grew up right behind the first Skyline.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right behind the first Skyline in Price Hill. It's an empty lot now, but yeah, we used to have to sniff it when we were broke, eating crackers and peanut butter and drinking Kool-Aid with no sugar in it, and I had to smell Skyline all the time. So now I eat too much of it. Now I'm overdoing it. I probably go 3 or 4 times a week. But Skyline's probably my favorite when it comes to my 3 ways that I get, and I do like Gold Star's chicken sandwiches. Like they got some just
They have a
bomb
really good
sandwiches.
menu.
Yeah, and they got the Parmesan garlic fries, and that's pretty good. Their conies are good too. I like their conies. And I know the David family, the people that started it. You know, Gold Star was actually named after a pack of cigarettes in Jordan, the country of Jordan.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, their grandpa or dad, or I can't remember. I think it was their grandpa, started it. And yeah, I guess he used to smoke Gold Star cigarettes when he was in Jordan and named the chili parlor after it. But I mean, there's a lot of good chili parlors, man. If you haven't tried Camp Washington chili, that's the one right there. Like there's really only one location, but if it was like an underrated chili parlor, I'd say there. Price Hill chili is good. I mean, these are all like Greek places. Like the Greeks brought us all this stuff, right? If it wasn't for the Greek immigrants, we wouldn't even have Skyline. Actually, we probably wouldn't have any of our good stuff. But yeah, the Greeks with the chili, man. That's in Sebastian's. There's a place. It's on the west side of Cincinnati. If you like spanakopita, if you like gyros, Greek food, you know they don't have chili there, but it's right down the street from Price Hill Chili. So what you could do, go to Price Hill Chili. Get your Geta cheese omelet, because Geta, if you don't know about Geta, you need some Geta in your life. Get some Geta cheese omelets, maybe get a little bowl of chili, and then go down to Sebastian's, get you a gyro and a little spanakopita on the side, and you'll be good.
Really?
You'll have the Cincinnati experience right there.
Sebastian's Bakehouse?
No, it's Sebastian's. It's a Greek restaurant on Glenway Avenue, corner of Glenway and Sydney. Or Glenway in Covedale.
Okay, I see it. Yeah.
Or it is Sydney. It is Sydney, yeah.
I'll pull it up here on the.
Yeah, Sebastian. That's the spot. I lived right down the street from it for a while. I got a rental property right there. It is. Yes.
I see Price Hill Chili.
It had 4.6 rating. Should be a 5.0 rating.
I'll check that out because yeah, it's always we don't have a lot of time when we're going down through Cincinnati. My family lives in southern Kentucky, so we head on down 75, and we're like, all right, well, we got to stop somewhere. And I had a relative lived in Milford, so there was a Skyline that
Milford's
was right
nice.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I've done the Skyline and Gold Star challenge on the same day, and I think yeah, as far as menu items go, Gold Star is a lot better. But it is when that goes. But as far as the chili, the three-way, and by the way, for folks who do not live in Ohio and have no idea what we're talking about, three-way is not what you think it is.
No.
It's chili, it's spaghetti, and it's cheese, and then four-way has onions, and then five-way has onions, and I don't know
Beans.
what else,
Yeah.
beans,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, that's the thing is, and we can wrap it up here. I love Cincinnati. I love the what it has to offer. I mentioned earlier about the geography. The drive in when you're going down 71 and 75 from Covington, right up on the hill, heading in towards the city, is one of the greatest views of a downtown
Right.
you're going to see. You get the Roebling Bridge. You have the oh God, that's going to be a disaster when they have to redo
Oh, it's gonna be bad, man.
the 75 bridge because
Oh
the
yeah.
traffic bottlenecks so much there. Then the Big Mac bridge, which had a fire on it recently, is that even open yet?
Yeah, that was some yeah, some people that were just AFTAB had a bunch of playground equipment under there that was flammable, and it was on that that surface that they have down there that's flammable, that's made of tires.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, tires are made of oil, right? And they're flammable. And they just went down there just on some crackhead stuff and just decided they would light a fire down there and burnt the whole damn thing. And next thing you
Oh,
know, the
so
bridge
I
shut
didn't
down.
know that's how that happened.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is burnt the bridge.
I
Yeah,
thought it
there's
was
a big old
just
hole
like
in
there
it.
was a car fire and something happened because I was heading down there.
Oh no,
It
crackhead.
was right around they were doing the Pete Rose Memorial at the baseball park, and I was across the river, and I'm like, how's this going to affect? Because 471 is only it's if you're going to some of those suburbs and you're heading out towards you going out past Newport, then that's one thing. But it didn't really affect me much, but it did affect as far as traffic going on that crazy bridge and stuff. It's just it was it's insane. And again, I love what Cincinnati has, and I know you do too. That's why you're so passionate about this. It's not that you hate the city, you love it and you want it to be better, and you know it's capable of being better. It's just I can tell from your tweets and from this conversation we've had the last hour or so that you're so passionate about your hometown,
Right.
and you were the poor kid who made something good of himself, and you know that other people in this town are capable of that as well. It's just it seems that there are powers above us that want it to continue. They want the racial resentment. They want the animosity. They want the classism. That it's because it's not even so much racism; it's classism that's happening, and it's a vicious cycle. And unfortunately, it's going on in Cleveland. It's going on in Baltimore, as you said. It's going on in Memphis and all these other non-top 10 population cities.
Yeah.
But like you said, that Dayton's up not far away, and Lexington and Louisville and a lot of the suburbs in Kentucky and Indiana, that it's not just Cincinnati. Cincinnati is like its own state. It's its own part of of the state of Ohio. It's like
Yeah.
as soon as you get to Kings Island, that's Cincinnati. Even though you're not in Cincinnati proper for another like 10 miles,
Yeah.
that's just how it is. And I could tell you're passionate behind this and you want this to improve. And I guess the good news is we are having some of these people on the right who are stepping up and finally growing a pair and doing something about it instead of
Yeah.
being like a rhino, a Mike DeWine type who doesn't want to address it.
Well, and the sad thing is a lot of people can't do it, man, because the left is so quick to try to cancel you and dox you and all this other stuff. You can't dox me, man. Who you gonna do? Call my boss? I am the boss. So, I can say things that other people can't say. And
Yep.
I grew up running my mouth, so I'm comfortable doing it. So I'll just keep going.
Well, yeah, from your lips to God's ears is what I would say. But Adam, I really appreciate you doing the podcast here today and letting people know about what's going on in Cincinnati and just showing what it has to offer and that people should go visit it. But I could understand after what we've talked about that a lot of people are going to be like, I don't know about that. But and that's where you should go find Adam on Twitter there, or X now, still_hustling. I like your picture of JD Vance. I also got one with JD a couple of years ago. Do you know JD at all?
Well, I'm working with his brother right now. We go back and forth on some things. He calls me every once in a while for some, advice on stuff because I've run a couple campaigns. But yeah, I've met JD a few times. I mean, obviously we all run in the same political circles, or we did before, we went big time. Now he's Mr. VP. But yeah, I think the only person's phone he probably picks up on a regular basis is President Trump. So
Yeah, at this point, because I had when he came back to Ohio and moved back down to Cincinnati and everything, and when he decided he wanted to throw his hat in the ring to run for Senate, I was working for a radio station at the time, and they said, "Hey, would you like JD Vance to come on your show?" And I said, "Absolutely."
heck yeah.
And he was running against Tim Ryan, and my station in Akron was a full on we would have Jim Renacci on a couple of times, but it would be balanced out with Sherrod Brown, and it's just all Democrats except for a Jim Renacci. And then they started saying, he's too rah-rah Trumpy. We're not going to have him on. So now it's just full Democrat. So we had J.D. Vance on and Tim Ryan on. Not at the same time, but if we're doing this equal opportunity, equal amount of time,
Yeah.
we had Tim Ryan on for 22 minutes for an interview and J.D. for 4.
Wow.
4 minutes. It was from
Wow.
8:45 to 8:49 because, of course, we got a
Insane.
break for commercials and we got a break for the traffic and weather updates. Traffic and weather on the 10s, and that's what ended up happening. And I felt bad, so I started having JD on my podcast instead. And so he was a 2-time guest on my podcast, and
Nice.
it was cool getting a chance to know him. And I finally got to meet him at an event he was doing with Donald Trump Jr. when he was running, and so. I feel you and I are solely responsible for putting him in this
There we
position.
go. Yeah, hey, I put some power behind him. I sent some people his way, some voters. So
It's amazing, but finally we're actually seeing Ohio GOP not just falling over like Bob Taft and Ken Blackwell, former mayor of Cincinnati.
That's right.
But a lot of other GOP has just been really, really disappointing. Larry Householder and all these others.
Oh
So
God, the Larry
thankfully, with Bernie Moreno, with JD Vance that we saw, I guess the jury's out with Vivek at this point, but it does seem like we're trending in a better direction in Ohio instead of just being typical rhinos who were like Mike DeWine condemning Zoomers for playing cornhole during COVID while all of his major cities were destroyed with cinder blocks.
Crazy,
So,
man.
anyways, but Adam, thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, Tony. Thanks for having me on.
Anything else you want us to know, like business wise, or anything else to go other than just follow you on social media?
Yeah, definitely follow me on Twitter. If you guys want to own an ad agency, it's called Reversed Out, REVERSEDOUT. If you want to support a conservative ad agency, we do a bunch of digital ads and stuff like that too. But Tony, yeah, anytime you come down to Cincinnati, make sure you hit me up, man. I'll take you on a little food tour.
Yeah, we'll do so. We'll go to is that you said Sebastian's, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it. I'll be down there, and I do want to find because I like old photography, and there's apparently a Frisch's Big Boy graveyard of the Big Boy statues.
Oh yeah,
and I gotta find where that was. I think somebody said it's because I went to the Big Boy mainliner, which that has also since closed.
Yep. Sad.
But
yeah, we'll find it.
It's weird when I'm like, oh, I have it on my phone somewhere. It's off 71 near Taft, I guess.
Oh, okay, easy. Yeah, I get off that exit all the time to go home.
Or someone said there's Walnut Hills. I don't know, but whatever.
Yeah, it's in Walnut. Yeah, you'd be in Walnut Hills.
But I'm a frequent visitor. I enjoy Cincinnati, which is why I have now spent 2 podcasts in consecutive weeks talking about Cincinnati. So thank you so much, Adam Koehler here on the podcast. Thank you folks for listening to it and watching it as well. If you want more from me, again, go to patreon.com/Tony Mazur, TonyMazur for $3, $5, and $10 a month, depending on how much content you want of me. Otherwise, you're going to get another free podcast next week. So I'll talk to you then. Thank you, everybody, and have a good week. Have a good weekend, and I don't know. Maybe I'll talk about something other than Cincinnati next week, but we'll see. You never know. See you later, everyone. Bye.